So who thinks by spitting? Please raise your hand if you think so. Some of you. Who thinks by humming? Also some of you. And who thinks by stamping their feet? Some more of you. The correct answer is, hello, come in, here in the front there are also some seats left, is by humming. And I hope the sounds does it. That's Llama humming. So it's just like us programmers were coding and I was seeing some code from a colleague and like, what's happening here? So it's just like that. Another question. Who tried something with AI in Java already? Oh, quite a lot of you. Cool. Some experts. Let's talk afterwards. I'm really interested what you tried already before. But today we're going to talk about llamas. And why llamas? I love llamas. They're so cute. I really love them. And llamas are also LLMs. And I wanted to do something with LLMs, and what's the better way to do something than prepare a talk for it? And of course with Java, because I'm a Java developer. And Python is okay, but Java is better. You agree, right? So today you will learn some facts about llamas, different ways to set up your local LLMs inside Java, and what LLMs are. So first up, I'm Lutske Leeuw. I'm the left one, not the right one. And I work for Crossman. That's a small consultancy company back in the Netherlands. I work now 10 years in IT, and I did some computer science and an education. You can find me on the socials. If you scan the QR code, you find my LinkedIn profile. But I think it's better to take a picture with you than a llama. So just pretend you won the lottery with 300,000 millions of dollars, or euros, or pesos, or whatever you want. And if you don't want to be in the picture afterwards, come to me. I will put a black bar for your face. So scream and shout like you never did before. Yay! Good enough. So, some small things. I'm also co-organizer for some local JUGs, so Java user group, back in the Netherlands from the Apeldoorn Jug and the Jug Noord. So when you're around, please come visit. And I do some volunteering for DevOps for Kids and Little, and that's all about teaching the next generation of children how to program. But what are large language models? So to tell you that, I'm going to tell you a story about Peter. And Peter is a parrot. And Peter is always listening to what I'm saying. So I'm saying, oh, I would love like some cheese, some chocolate, or just food. And he will remember that. So the next time I'm saying, I'm feeling hungry, I would love some, and he would say cheese, or food, or chocolate. And it's less likely that he would say bicycles or books, because I never say I want to eat books. But he has no clue what books are or berries are. He just repeats what I'm saying. And that's what we're calling a stochastic parrot. And there's a whole paper about it. It's in the below of the presentation, also a link I will share later with you with all the papers I mentioned. And there's one on the danger of stochastic parrots. Can language models be too big? By Emily Bender. And stochastic means a system characterized by randomness or probability. So, a large language model is something like that. We have a neural network inside it. And a neural network is with training on data. And if I say I won't be able to attend, then there's a high chance it will say I won't be able to attend this meeting. So it's protecting what is coming next. So Peter is listening to all the conversations in my home. And he's listening and listening. But in a neural network we also can say, for example, all the things from Wikipedia about movies from Bridget Jones or Star Wars or Marvel, whatever you like, everything on the whole internet. And then we ask him, when is George Lucas born? And he will say something like, he was born on May the 14th, 1944. And we see, oh, this is so annoying. I can do this. Yes, no, yes. So here's the answer, and we see here, yes, that's the same. You probably already saw it, but now my clicker is working. Too good. And we also use this in our daily, day-to-day job. If you have, for example, using Gmail, then you can see it autocompletes, or you're typing in Word, or typing in IntelliJ, or whatever you're using. Autocomplete is also a type of that. But we're talking about large language models, so bigger. So Peter is not only listening to me, he's also listening to all my neighbors, or even all around the world. And I can ask him all kind of things, because he listens to the whole world. So when was the first edition of JNation? It was in 2018. Can you write me a haiku? And so on, and so on. What are the best foods? You can name it. But then we have a thing we call reinforcement learning with human feedback, or in short, the RLHF. And what does that mean? So I have a really cute nephew from 2 years old. And sometimes he is with me. And so I would say, oh, please don't eat some chocolate. And then Peter said, otherwise you get punished. I will punish you when I rot. And I was like, oh my gosh, please don't. We don't do that. So Peter was listening to some violent homes. And we don't want that response. So he can say, I will punish you with an iron rod, or your stomach will hurt and you can't play afterwards, or you will throw up. And to interfere as a human, we can say, okay, we don't prefer violence, we want to prefer the other one. And that's the human interference. So it's very handy. Please don't accept everything, because you know, as programmers, shit is out, shit is in. Otherwise they're out. Please, you get it. Garbage in, garbage out. So in a large language, we're putting files, databases, pictures, everything you can think of. And then it grows. We got a large language models with inside your neural network. And we have a lot of large language models. We have a Google that has Pelham. We have ChatGPT, you probably heard of that, from OpenAPI. And we have Llama from Meta. And that one is open source. So the Facebook and Meta and everything, it's very, very interesting. And they call it Llama because LLM, large language model, put some A's in between. Ta-da! Llama, the best animal alive. So, how does this work? Maybe you heard of tokenization, and if not, we just go through it. So I have this sentence. I really like this conference because there are amazing speakers. And we see them as words. But we can tokenize this. Sorry, my fluency. But you can see, we chop them in blocks, but it's not always words. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. And there's a website, Tick Tokenizer, where you can do this yourself for a lot of different models as well. And if we translate this to numbers, you can see it here. And you see the I, that's 306, or the B from because is 13. So the B is very often used, it's high in the system. But the ecos is like so big number, I cannot even pronounce it like this. I can, but I won't. I'm lazy. And then we have transformers. And in ChatGPT, the GPT stands for Generative Pre-trained transformers. And this is the core to all modern LLMs. And the great thing about this is it's high scalable. Again, a paper, attention is all you need from a lot of researchers. And where we say self-attention, that's every word is considered in the context of all the words. Just like we saw with the tokenization, it's all together, and that's what we call self-attention. Then, we have transformers, and I will just go quick through this. But on the left, yes, I will just point to it, it's easier. Here you have inputs, and you make input embeddings from it. You have the same, the outputs. The outputs is like if you have a chat history or something, and you make an output embedding to it. Then we go one level up, add positional encoding. And with positional encoding, that adds information about the tokens and etc. Then the input, we go through the encoder and then do it all together in the decoder. I'll just try it one more time, if my hand is stable enough. Yeah, so we decoder, and then we do it through some layers, like in this case the linear and the softmax. But I can go on for days about that, but it's a whole other lecture. So that's in a nutshell. And why is this useful? You can use this in a lot of things, to summarize, to make new text, to help with your day-to-day coding, to make chatbots, whatever you can think of. But we're here for the local models. So how does that work? Local models means that you are the full owner of it. And you don't need any internet. So I'll show you in a couple of minutes with a demo. I don't have any Wi-Fi or something connected. And the best thing about local models is because you're the owner, you have full control. So there's no cloud that's storing your data. It's not on someone else's computer. No, it's yours, and it stays yours. So that's if privacy for your company or your client is a big thing, this is really important. And like I said, offline reliability. You can do it anywhere. You only have to have internet to download the models, but once you did that, you're free of them. So even if you're here in Machu Picchu, you can do it. Just like this Llama, local LLMs, no problem. He can do it. He cannot read, but if he could run local models. So what's the difference between hosted and local models? So hosted models are in the cloud with Amazon, AWS, Google, whatever. And because you store their data, you have to pay for that for every request you're getting it out. And the latency, it depends really on where the servers are running or not. And you have probably also heard of vendor locking, some things you have to do. But if you do it not that much, then it could be better to do it hosted, because you pay only per use. If you do it local, you have to have more one-time setup to invest in your hardware and in your memory, and then you have almost no cost left. And if you go to open versus closed models, open models is like the Llama model, and closed ones are like from ChatGPT. And with ChatGPT, for example, you can only call the API. So of course, you can work with it, but you don't have full access to it. And you don't know what's happened behind the closed door. What are they doing with your data? And like I said, it's easier to just call the API, but for privacy, it's better to local. So, Java and Llama. Now question, what is a baby llama called? So who thinks, raise your hand if you think it's a calf. 2 votes. Who thinks a QB? 5, 6. And who thinks a Kriya? Correct. It's a Kriya. And are there here some Spanish-speaking persons in the room? Someone can speak Spanish? No. So, can you confirm that Kriya is meaning crybaby in Spanish? I can't confirm. Just believe me, it is. Google it afterwards, or just now. But this is very important. Baby llama, Kriya. Crybaby, Kriya, baby llama. So, what is Llama? Llama is like developer-friendly, and it lets you run local LLMs. But that isn't for Java yet. You can talk with it through REST APIs. So there's something that's called Llama for Java. And how do we use that? So in the left, you see your Java environment. Just trying it again. Yes. With your Java project that uses the library Llama for J. It's very heavy. That communicates with, it has its own life, the Llama server. Yes. And that's managing the models. And how do we do that? We go to the internet, of course. We download Llama, and we run it in Docker. Before we go to the demo, let's make some things clear. So, what is a model? Not this one. It's a pre-trained neural network. So, like I said, the GPT-4, Mistral, Llama 3, there are a lot of examples. And that, in our demo, or my demo, it's deciding what a model can do. And you can also, in demo, it's something what you name the model. And then you have system prompts. And system prompts, you probably know it, are special instructions. And that tells you how to behave, or the model to behave. So you run the model, and you give instructions with the system prompt. That's more the behavior. So, demo time. Will it work? Buttons? No. Yes, and I will make it readable for you guys. I said make it readable. So cool that your technology works at the conference. I said make it readable. No. Now I have to do it manual. I never do this manual. But the love of the demo gods. Does anyone in the audience know the shortcut for presentation mode? Thank you. Shift P. Yeah, I have it on another button, but the button doesn't work. We can read it now, right? In the back also? Yes, sometimes up. So here, I'm using Java 24, latest and greatest, because we're on the conference. But you can also do this with Java 17. I'm using Maven in my Java project, and sorry, I breathe. And as you can see, I'm using the Llama 4J library, and I do some SLF4J because I can. And moving things. So first, I will list the local models I have. And here you can see I already have some Mistral, Gamma 3, Gwen 2.5, some multiple, and also some examples from other conferences as well. And I don't have any Wi-Fi. I will show you after this demo. And I also created a model. Everybody is inside, yes. And here you can see we have a host. We call the Llama API, so we just use the library and call the host we're implementing. And then we say we want to create a Llama animal expert with the Gwen 2.5 model. And then we say, oh, you're a zoologist about llamas, you know everything, you're very friendly, and you know everything about their behavior. And I already run this, but I can run it again. It's very, very fast. But I will show you just like this. 1 second, not even. So, do we remember what the baby llama is called? Kriya, exactly. So, here, yes, I have a chat example. Again, with the same host. We connect with it. And then we say, from the model, the llama animal experts I created before. And we'll chat with them. So the first question I ask is, how do we call a baby llama? And then I also ask them, are llamas social animals? And if we run this, you will see it will answer with Kriya, and otherwise I will go and run for my life. Can I get some ruffles? Oh, that's too bad. Why it's not running? I have Docker on, did I? Yes. This is the other example. Okay, that's annoying. But we will fix. Let's run it again. It always helps, right? People leaving, no leave. That happens. That's the demo gods. Ah, whew. And now we see it says it's a Kai, I don't know that one, or sometimes a Kriya. But both terms are used. And in the second question, are llamas social animals? It says, yes, indeed, they're social animals. They're thriving best. I didn't say it had to be short, so it goes on because it's very passionate about llamas, because it's a llama expert. But if you play Planet Zoo like me, you will see llamas like it in herds. But it's more fun to make a new one. So, let's create a new one. And we're not on J on the Beats anymore, so we're going to JNation example. So I want to hear from the audience, what kind of expert do you want to create? Shout. What for expert? Food expert. Oh, I love you already. Food. Don't tell my fiancé, but... So we have a food expert. And do we have some specialization? Portuguese food. Ah, perfect. Portuguese food. And even if I misspell it, it doesn't matter. This expert will know it all. Now I add it to make it short, because otherwise it will be passionate again and tell a lot. So let's create this one. So it's already successful, like you see in 1 second already. Because we already have the local models, we just build a layer on top. So let's talk about with the custom one. And here I have to change this to JNation, of course. That I have to spell correct. So once again, we have a host. We connect with it. And we say, OK, please use the JNation example. We created a food expert. So again, from the audience, what question do we want to ask our food expert in Portuguese food? What? Ooh, I have to type. We have the time. What's the special ingredient of? And then I will ask you again. The special ingredient in the what for sauce? How do you spell that? Oh, France, yes. Something. Ah, sorry, misspelling it. Sauce. Yes? He will understand. A follow-up question that's a little bit easier to spell. Oh, the coffee. Yeah, drinks or drinks food. We will see if he knows. Let's see it and run it. I like live demos. Sometimes it goes good, just like in a second now. So make it bigger. So famous for its rich flavor, and its key ingredient is beef browned with onions. But it's unique, it's not short. With a blend of mayonnaise, ketchup, and sometimes Worcester sauce or beer. Is that's true? Our expert in the audience? Yeah? Oh. I was worried I really had to run for my life. And the second one, can you order cappuccino after 11 in Italy? Yeah, there's no strict rules against it. But many Italians do enjoy cappuccinos later in the day. Oh, let's run it again. Let's see if it gives another answer. This is not what we like. Yes. Ordering cappuccino after 11 a.m. is generally considered unconventional and might lead to some raised eyebrows. I think you have to run if you order that, but you can do it. But just like you saw, it's very easy to say you're now that expert or such expert. You can just change it in seconds and it will know, because it already trained on a large set of data back in the cloud. And if you download it, you can go so many things with it. So let's go out presentation mode. My button's still not working. Why do I have this? Yeah. Yes. And let's go back. Doesn't matter. So, what did we learn from this demo? Java is already AI. What? That's not a sentence. Again. Java is already AI ready. And it's very fun to do it. Like you saw with the cappuccino and the llamas. It's very easy, it's very fun. But the important thing to remember here, that memory is gold. So I have a really strong computer, but those models are a couple of gigabytes, and I will show you in a bit. But you do have to have memory. But we can also do this with some other thing, like length chain Fourier. Who heard about length chain Fourier already? A couple of you. So let's explain that. Length chain Fourier is one of the things. I will do this one. No, doesn't matter. It's also a library, and again, Fourier. So it's specially made for Java. And let's demo that, because demos are better when they work. Yes, Shift-A, presentation modes. This is the previous example. So, once again in the POM, here we see some Maven dependencies with length chain for J, and we also have one specific for length chain for J, Llama. And if we go here to the Llama example, we will see here you have the chat language model. That's what we imported in the library. And we make a builder. And in the builder, we again set a host base URL. And this time we're using Mistral, but you can put in any LLM you have downloaded locally. And then already saying, okay, let's chat. Explain dependency injection in simple Java terms in only 2 sentences. And start with a robot head, because why not? Smileys. And I have to wait some time, but not very long. And there, the answer is already there. Dependency injection is a design pattern that allows objects to receive their dependency from external source rather than creating or searching for them internally. Yeah, it's local LLMs. It's like always, you think a sentence is short. Nope. This makes code more modular, testable, blah, 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 blah. Hopefully you know what it is, and otherwise come afterwards. I will read the whole sentence to you. And we can do this also with, just to show how it works, with Gwen 2.5, a 7 billion parameter model. We can also set the temperature and a lot of more things, but the temperature, we can add up the creativity. And now we're going to ask the model, why should you use local LLMs in Java? So I hope this time she doesn't hallucinate and tell you rubbish. This also takes a couple of seconds. I should insert it here in Llama joke. But did you know the difference between a llama and an alpaca? You can see them in the ears. So llamas have really pointy long ears and alpaca very small fluffy ears. Just so you know. Do with it whatever you want, but demo gods are not with me today. Oh, there it is. Oh, phew. 10 reasons why you should use Java with local LLMs. Privacy and security, what I already told you. Latency performance, yes. Offline use cases, of course. Cost considerations, yeah, that's depending on what I already said. Local LLMs, higher startup price, lower or none afterwards. Hosted all the time the same. More control, easier to debug. Ah, sounds like magic, right? Easy debugging, intellectual property protection. Ah, loving it. So it's good that you're here today. But yeah, it's just that easy to set up the code. It's importing the library and do it. No Python needed. I don't want this one. I'll extend my screen again. I love AI, like you see it here. Yes. So the difference between Llama 4j and LangChain 4j, with LangChain 4j you have much more options. But if you want to use all those options, you need to get a deep dive into it. And Llama 4j is like better for plug and play, so like demos like I just did. But if you want simple prompts and nothing fancy, it's very good. But if you, for example, want to do something like embeddings with LangChain 4j, there are like whole systems for that already set up. But to use it, you just saw it, import the library and doing things. So if you want more complex things, LangChain 4j is better. And if you want to do simple things, Llama 4j is better. That's my opinion. And maybe you ask yourself, yeah, but you have a big laptop, right? So thank you, Craftsman company, for this big laptop. So this laptop, I have 46 gigs of RAM, 16 cores, 2 terabytes. I got some GPU, so it's pretty heavy. But do you need also this computer? No, but I can tell your boss you needed to, so call me then. But if you want to do it on your own laptop, you can also do it on a server, a company server, or whatever. At least 16 gigabytes of RAM is needed, and 8 cores. The size, here I have stated 500 gigabytes. That's the minimum, because there are a lot of different models you can use, but how bigger the model, how more space you use. So this is really the minimum. And a GPU, you can do it with a CPU, but if you have a GPU, it's better, but it's not required. And it's very easy to check it on your laptop if you have one. If we have time, maybe I'll show you. So are the minimum requirements. So a little more about models. There are a lot of models. We saw Mistral and Llama, and you see a lot. I'm trying again with my pointer. Yes. No, okay. Here we see the Llama 2 with 7B, and 7B means it has 7 billion of parameters. And we have also the Llama 2 with 13B, so that has 13 billion of parameters. But you can see that in the gigabytes, in the size, the one with the 7 billion, it's almost 4 to 7 gigs, and the one below from 30 is 13 gigabytes. So how more parameters, how bigger the model. Sounds logical, how more factors you have to change. And then you have the speed. So there are a lot of them. This list is not all of them, but there's a snapshot. But you also have something that's on the bottom that we call Tiny Llama. And Tiny Llama is a very small llama. It's like a Korea. And it only has 1.1 billion parameters. So that's why it's only 1 to 2 gigs. So if you have small devices, that's very handy. But it's very slow. It's 60 to 100 tokens per second. So do you want it? Depends. It all depends on the project you're building if you need it. So there's a lot of things you have to devise, and probably you're going to ask, what is the best model? It's like always, it depends. But I would always say just try with something like, for example, Llama and Mistral, and see the difference if you have the space for it. So, when to go local? The 3 pillar things are privacy, costs, and control. So if one of those, or even more, is very important for your company or your client, local LLMs is the way to go. And probably you're all smart and want to learn more. So here is a QR code to all the links, but on Udemy and on YouTube, there are like a lot of courses you can follow for free and also paid to do that. So these are just a handful. Of course, there are more, and every day there are new ones. But here, I will just wait a second for you to can scan everything. So, to wrap it up, local LLMs with Java, they work great. And you can do that with LangChain4j, Llama4j, and there are a lot of other solutions, but my talk is only that long. And cost, privacy, and control. So that are the main pillars. So what is the downside then? What are common pitfalls to use local LLMs? If you use the wrong model, so if your model is too small and it doesn't know everything from the world, or maybe it's too big and you only want it for one specific thing, that's some things to take in mind. And like I said, memory overflow. If you have, for example, made a chatbot and you're always sending the chat history and the chat history grows and grows and grows, yeah, you can have a memory overflow. But you can easily fix that by saying, okay, I only want the last 100 messages, or 10 or million, depending on how your system is regulated. But if you cut that off, then it won't happen. So, the future of Java and AI. It's already here. You already are in it. And every day better tools are coming. Some models I showed you are only 1 month old, but like I said, every week they're coming new and new models. And the best thing, you can help shape it. There are like a lot of open source things that can use your help with Hugging Face, Llama Factory, and a lot more. So if you want to contribute, just Google them, and you can be just a part of something very, very cool. I'm speaking a lot, but I always love to improve myself. So if you can give me some feedback, please scan the left QR code. You can fill in the form later, but it would help me a lot. There am I on the socials, and on the right side you see all the links I talked about during this session. So we will have time for some questions, but first I will thank you for listening. So for the questions, we have a microphone, so if you raise your hand, then some of the volunteers come to you so we can answer your question. So, are there any questions? Here, in the beginning.
So, thank you. I was wondering if you gave a look also to Llama, because the next bit is that you can run inference directly in Java, and with Llama you can also avoid doing an HTTP request to the Llama servers, because everything is done in Java, including the inference. So it's inside the same Java virtual machine. It's inside the same process, also the Java inference. Did you give a look at it, or?
Yeah, I played a lot of with it, and with the inferencing and stuff, there's a lot you can do more. But I think what I showed you here today is that that's very easy to incorporate. But with the inferencing, I have to come back to you.
Okay, thanks. Somebody else?
Other question, yes.
Regarding, hello, thank you for your presentation.
You're welcome.
Regarding the local models, we also have to be careful with something regarding the security. Do you have any kind of thing that we can use for security? For example, to avoid poisoning scriptings or backdoor scriptings in your local models?
Yeah, so the question
because
is...
Because it's running a machine, for example, in the cloud or something like that.
Yeah, but security, the big pro of local LLMs is that it doesn't go anywhere. So if you use your confidential company data or something like it, you can use it. But also common best practice to do is to anonymize your data if you have confidential data. So first anonymize it and then do it in a model. But like I said before, the best thing about local LLMs, it doesn't go anywhere. And yes, of course, you have the default encryption and cryptography. And also there, it depends on what you want, what's the best way to encrypt it or do the security. But there's also a whole thing you can, I think it doesn't take any long to have a new title like the LLM security optimizer admin, whatever fancy title you give to it. But yeah, there are basic things to do, but yeah, there are a whole lot of things. So sorry, it depends. Other questions? Can also be about llamas, a little bit about it. Yes, in the back, to the left.
Hello, congratulations for the presentation. My question is it possible to feed our documents to the model so it learns from our documents and can answer for questions about those documents?
Yes, you can feed documents to your local LLM models, and then you can keep questions out. So if you have a company like with all the AR documents in it, and if you can, then you can chat with it, like how many days of leave do I have, or if I have a wedding, when do I get free from that, or I have to fill in my sick days or whatever. So yeah, that's the cool thing about local LLMs. You can put that just on top of the LLM you already have.
Okay, just one more question. Is it possible for us to feed it with PDFs and docx, or we have to transform that to text and then feed the information?
No, you can give it just PDFs and pictures and whatever you like. You don't have to transfer it to text. There are a lot of libraries that do that also for you. But the model works as faster if it's just normal text. So if you do the layer in between to do it to text or to tokens, then yes, it's faster, but you can give it just PDFs and pictures and, no, Smart is not, but almost everything. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah. So here in the front, the question was like, does it learn on the documents we feed, or doesn't it learn at all? So it learned on the internet, or yeah, just based on where the model is fed on, but most of the time the internet, and then you download that and then you build up on that. So if you gave it your documents or your pictures or whatever, it will continue to learn from that. So you build an extra layer to your neural network.
What if when we update to the next version of the LLM?
If you apply to the next version of the LLM, yeah, you can do two things. You can, or you have to start over again and add your documents. But sometimes you want a better model and start from the beginning, and you can also do some integration between, I don't know what's happening, some integration between them, but that's a little more high advantage to do that. So you can combine that, but it's easier to start from the beginning unless you have a lot of money and time. That's the easy answer. Like always, money and time. I have 2 minutes left, so I think one more question. Yes, here in the green shirts.
In AWS Bedrock, there is a feature which is a web crawler. Do you know something regarding this to work in local environment?
Yeah, so in AWS you have Bedrock. There are a lot of other difference with the hosted models. For local, it's not local anymore if you do the crawler. So then you do yeah, like a hybrid solution with hosted and local. But if you go a crawler, it's not a local, and then you go to the internet.
I mean, just to get the data, you know.
Oh, just to get the data, yeah. But you use the LLMs that's already trained on the internet. So you have to search for a specific LLM that's trained for that, or train the LLM in a hosted environment and then go local. Okay, the idea is kind of you have an internal week, like a Confluence or something like this, and set your local environment to read these pages, you know, something like this. Yeah, so if you have your company wiki and you want to read it, yes, you can do that as well, and then we don't call it, yeah, you can do that locally, but it's not fully offline reliable because your source is online, so that's a hybrid solution more. But yes, you can do that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So thank you very much again for listening.